Did you ever have something very kind happen to you, but it was unexpected? Sometimes, when kindness and love happen, other great things can happen. Listen to our story today. A long time ago, in the land of Israel, there were green fields that grew crops and food for people to eat. And water. And in Israel, there lived a person named Naomi with her husband. But one time, there was a famine in the land of Israel. And that meant that the land became very dry. And the fields did not grow any crops. And there was no food in the land of Israel. And so Naomi and her husband traveled across the Dead Sea to another land, the land of Moab, where there was still green fields and food to eat. Now Naomi and her husband had 2 children. And when the children grew up, they took wives. One wife was named Orpah, and the other wife was named Ruth. After a while, Naomi's husband died. And their 2 children died. And one day, Naomi heard that God was very kind to the land of Israel, and the famine lifted, and the green fields returned. So Naomi said to her 2 daughters-in-law, "Return now to your families in Moab, and I will return to the land of Israel." And Orpah was very sad, and cried, and kissed Naomi, and went back to her family in Moab. But Ruth did not want to go, and she said to Naomi, "Wherever you go, I will go. Amech ami, your people will be my people. Ve'elohayech Elohai, and your God will be my God." And so Naomi and Ruth traveled back to the land of Israel. And when they came, it was the time of the barley harvest. Now, barley was a very important crop in the land of Israel, because when you ground the barley, you could bake bread and live. Naomi and Ruth were very poor. They didn't have money. They didn't have barley to bake bread. And so Naomi said to Ruth, "Go to one of the fields and follow the workmen, and when they gather the barley, if they drop some, you can pick it up and bring it home, and we'll bake some bread." And so Ruth went to one of the fields, and she followed behind the workmen as they gathered the barley. And she collected barley that fell out of their sacks so that she could bring it home. Now the owner of this field was a man named Boaz. And Boaz called to his workers and said to them, "Who was that young woman who was collecting barley as you gathered it?" And they said to him, "That is Naomi, that is Ruth, who came with her mother-in-law Naomi from the land of Moab." And so Boaz said, "Bring her to me." And so they brought Ruth to Boaz. And Boaz said to Ruth, "I heard of all the kindness you did to Naomi, how you wouldn't leave her alone, and how you came with her back to her country. And so I want you to gather as much barley as you want, and if you're hungry, you may eat, and if you're thirsty, you may drink." And so Ruth gathered barley all day and brought some of it back to her home. And Naomi asked her, "Ruth, where were you today?" And Ruth said, "I was in the field of Boaz, and he was very kind." And Naomi was surprised and said, "Ruth, you know Boaz belonged to the family of my husband. God was very kind to us, and God will be kind to you. Continue to collect barley in the field of Boaz." So every day Ruth would go out to the field and follow the workmen and collect the barley and bring it home. And one day Naomi said to Ruth, "Ruth, at night go to the place where Boaz sleeps and lie down next to his feet, and he will know what to do." And so that night Ruth washed and dressed and went to the special place where Boaz slept. She lied down next to his feet. And Boaz woke up, and he was startled and surprised that Ruth was there. But he was very happy to see her. And he said to Ruth, "Because you have been so kind, I would like to be kind to you." And so Boaz and Ruth got married, and God was kind to them. And they had a baby, and they loved the baby, and Naomi loved the baby. And when that baby grew up, he became the grandfather of the great Melech David, King David, King of Israel. Now I'm wondering, what part of the story did you like the best?